I don't know. Yes, you should be hearing something. Yes. One second. Let me see if I can start this Twitter thing. All right, here. Gotta have a hat. Twitter, where are you, Twitter? Twitter, I want to go to studio. Hey, got a lot of stuff here. Premium. Ah, here's somebody.
Oh, I hear you now.
Hey, I can hear you too, Greg.
I have no idea why my headphones that were plugged into the computer were not working, but my wireless ones apparently are.
I think, yeah, John Spirit amended. I'm going to start the streaming magic of modern technology. How do I do this? Somebody, I want to producer, and I want to go create broadcast. Yes, this the Roundup. Some technology. Just bear with me, guys. I'm the noob here. And okay, see what we got going now.
It's pushing the bits and the bytes.
Yes, oh, I'll be done. Okay, so then I'm sending to the magic of television. I'm sending this to Twitter. I hit this button here, and I go create broadcast, and say, yeah, post this week's roundup. And wow, yeah, I think we're now live on Twitter, guys. So just if you leave your house today, big crowd of reporters out in the yard. You're just gonna have to live with this celebrity. Okay, just I want you to be okay with it. Don't get freaky or nothing. It's all right. Hey, Greg, good to see you, my friend.
I'm guessing I should not go jump in the white Bronco and drive to the grocery store.
Yeah, you done. Bad day for the white Bronco. Yeah. Greg, I haven't
Depends if
spoken.
depends if they're on if they're on foot, you could go ahead and do that.
Yeah. We haven't seen you in a while, Greg. What have you been up to, dude?
Oh, mostly just getting worked out, finished up with writing, and looks like I might be moving soon.
Hmm?
Oh,
Moving is good.
yeah.
It's one of the most fun activities you could do.
Aside from getting a job and having a fight with your spouse, it's just yeah.
Well, if I end up where I'm looking at going, it might actually be fun. Not the place where it is, which would be Newark, not Newark, as in Delaware. Newark
Correct.
is in New Jersey.
Very
But
good.
at least it would be a very quick trip into the city.
True. On a train, no less.
Yeah, Newark's yeah. so in my latest book, seriously, this is funny because the first page, my latest book, the hero dies, and the afterlife begins in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh,
Like Greg. Wow, if you see the heroine of my book, man, yeah, okay, I've got a whole book of recommendations for you after that, right?
do you publish great pizza joints in the afterlife?
Well, see, actually, I don't want to spoil too much, but we have to start with the serial killer everybody hates, despises, a nice old lady who's a torturous person. They electrocute her. She wakes up. She's in a bar at the airport in Newark, New Jersey. Has to be probably the worst ending you can think of. And then to start her new job, she actually gets hired because she's an outstandingly bad person. They have either if you're really good or you're really bad, you get like promoted, and then they give you a new job. And so she was really bad, so she starts at Newark, and then the rest of the book is like initiation, job orientation, how to
Are
get
you
promoted.
sure this isn't a comedy book?
It is an odd book, yeah. Like somebody said once that every good book in its heart is about management philosophy.
Every time I think of New Jersey, the only thing I can think of is the movie Dogma.
Dogma, yeah, Kevin Smith.
Well, because they need to prevent the angels from entering this small church in New Jersey.
I want to watch Dogma again. I'm not a Catholic, but that was like crammed full of Catholic like references. It was pretty cool.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah, George Carlin was in it, wasn't he?
He was.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon.
And I think God was like Alanis Morissette or some sort of strange singer person, I believe.
Yeah, like the entire cast was just like amazing.
Chris Rock. Director Kevin Smith. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, it is that. It is a silly. Yeah, if you're easily offended by religion, you don't want to. Because like I said, I'm not Catholic, but I'm pretty sure they skewer every possible Catholic thing they can.
7.3.
It's interesting. I always joke around being raised a Protestant with my wife is that dang the Catholics have all the fun because like when you get to the Exorcist and all the demons, the Catholic got already stuff set up for all this stuff. They're like, oh, we got the book of like Lucifer. They got like a text in it. They got a reference manual and everything.
They've been around for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been around for a hot minute, couple millennia.
Yeah, so they're ahead of the game. It's not. I don't think it's fair to the rest of the other. I don't think it's fair to other religions.
Yeah.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, let's see. Well, still watching on the 6th season now. This is so I won't spoil anything,
We
but
finished season 2.
yeah, moving through that, and yeah, nothing crazy. Just had some wonderful steaks. I had a little family come over. Alex brought some steaks and grilled them real nice. One was a dry aged, pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, the usual. Doing some granddaughter stuff and kid stuff. And, yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, we finished. Like I said, we finished season 2. We had to do it yesterday, this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and it was good. It was quite. I like season 2 better than season 1.
Hmm.
And I told Melissa that it's excellent. Of course, I'm a nitpicker, so sometimes she just wants to kill me. But I'm like, at some point, the coincidences kind of have to stack too high. We're good right now, but at some point, you just can't keep building a house of cards where it's all kind of connected to each other.
Yeah, there you might run into an episode or two that almost make you like some are like, wow, really awesome, and others are okay. Your writers are getting a little too creative.
Yeah, they did some stuff in season 2 that I haven't seen done on TV before. They did a three episodes that was basically the same episode from 3 points of view.
Yes,
And
that was
super cool.
yeah. The starting the second one, I'm like, oh, I swear I watched this. Did I do something wrong? And then kind of looking at it and like, oh, oh no, oh, I get it. It's from, and I think it might have been the first episode where they titled it.
Yes, they titled the number.
And,
Yes, like
yeah.
1, 2, and 3, depending on
I was
the
like,
person.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, the different perspectives. Yeah.
Let's see what else we've been doing. oh, we had our contractor come start fix our contractor being my nephew Jonathan, fixing the fire damage we had a couple months back.
Oh, from
Jonathan is
the
excellent.
coals.
We negotiated. We did a hard bargain with Jonathan. We're like, here's all the money we have. We fix the tank. I'm like, I said we're not really supposed to do it this way. And so yeah, we just I guess we've decided to go kind of open kimono. I told Jonathan, well, Jonathan, if you can't trust family, who can you trust? And he looked at me. He said, I found out you can't trust family. And I went, yeah, that's kind of the point. You can't trust anybody. But I want you to feel really bad about this if you take our money, okay? Because it's family. You feel especially bad.
Yeah.
So
I hope he just whips out like a rope and a little bit of a jigsaw thing or hacksaw, and then just does like a big circle and cuts the hole out and puts something in there for you.
He's there. I think Jonathan is a little bit on the spectrum like the rest of us, and so he got in there, found the cross member underneath that was damaged, and jacked it, supported it, and found there's some misalignment here. So we have no doubt. I'm pretty sure he'll stay under budget, but I have no doubt he'll do a good job. Whatever he does, he takes his time.
Nice.
So first article is this UAV thing. Oh wow! Did you get the chance to see this, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a pretty cool article.
I've seen some of those videos of them tracking people down. It's scary as shit. I mean, it's real, and you got no chance. Hide behind a tree. Good luck.
This is as much as we talk about how drone warfare is changing warfare, and they laughed at us, and now it's I guess really it is. But now you get like here it's in your face, like no, you can't go out in the open anymore. It's just not going to work.
Unless you got big smoke screen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they've got like portable microwave weapons for like armored cars, but I'm just thinking right now it's an unsolved problem. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it's
The
trying
reason
to
I
be
say that
solved.
is if you got a microwave weapon, you've got to have a direction of attack, and you're assuming I'm going this way, and the drones are that way. Well, if I can just go around and come behind you, it it doesn't. It's not a happy thing here. So yeah, this reminds me a lot of World War I, where we thought we could continue fighting the same way, and no, weapons have changed it so that we're gonna have to invent something new now.
A lot of that happened in World War II as well.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, this guy's like just to recap, 92% death rate in open fields. That's,
It's kind of high.
yeah, that's just being chased down by a little quadcopter and killed. Basically, it boils down to.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah,
no matter the escape method, running on foot, driving, riding a motorbike, that doesn't matter. It's 92%. Wow, it's crazy. So it makes you wonder, how just things like reconnaissance. How are you going to send a reconnaissance patrol out, like one guy even, a listening post? How do you put a person out front to determine what's going on if people cannot be in the open at all? I don't
Well, and we're not even getting into things yet, like them using IR sensors.
Yes. Yeah, see, I thought originally, well, okay, they just go at night because it's visual, but no, there's IR cameras are just as cheap as regular cameras.
Yeah.
They're normally a bit more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, it depends on whether you're
yeah.
talking about thermal cameras or the cameras like you get on your house cameras, have the little LED lights. Yeah, thermal cameras are expensive. The ones you get on the house are like $20.
And part of this is the classic technical battles in the heat of war, right? It often creates rapid evolution because lots at stake. So yeah, who knows what will happen, but crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting about the IR. I'm reading the book about the Skunk Works by Ben Rich, who was the successor to Kelly Johnson. And even though the weird shit, I'll tell you more about it here and there, but there was an interesting aspect of we want the F-117 was the basic creation that this book is about. And they wanted it to be subsonic because going supersonic creates heat. You know, the surfaces get hotter, everything gets hotter, and now you're more visible in the IR spectrum. So, yeah, that's those kinds of little
Yeah.
details.
Yeah,
Make a big difference.
it's a bet. Stealth has always been a bet that it's worth spending $1 billion so you can't see us because you can't see us. Really, we're in the sky, but what if you can see us? And they shot down a stealth in what was it, Yugoslavia in the '90s, and the way they did it was they had a SAM missile guy with the SAM. He's had it turned off. He was laying in a hole, and he waited because he knew that the stealth would come over 117. As soon as the stealth flew over, he popped up and shot it from the back. And from the back, it had a big signature and nailed it. Took the whole thing down. Because his ears could hear the plane fly over.
Yeah, only after the fact. Yeah, right.
The F-117
Yes.
is just approaching 50 years old.
It's
Yeah, the book, the stage I'm at in the book, it's like 1975, and they're doing some tests. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first one went into service sometime right around 1980.
And we didn't know about it until like the '90s.
No, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the first time Alex was young. We were at the Reading Air Show. There was a B-2 flyover, and I said, "Wow, son, this is bomber number 6." And all they're going to do is fly over. They're not landing. There's no static display of that bad boy. And this is in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, with Amish and horse and buggies. And luckily, the announcer says where to look. It's like, it's over that way. It's coming. Where is it? Where is it? And then suddenly you see this thin thing coming at you. And then when it comes over, it looks like a bat. And I'm thinking, what are these Amish people thinking? Like, what the hell is that? Because it looks wild.
SR-71 and the B-2 are planes that you see and you go like, oh my god, that's just another beauty. Yeah, the B-2 is an amazing plane.
And then I recall they had an F-117 on static display. So I don't know. I'm guessing this is probably 20-some years ago. The what I'm talking about. So it took a long time before you could sit and walk around and see an F-117, on static. So yeah, it's like you said, Craig. It's 50 years old ish. Yeah.
So this is going to evolve. I posted a reply, I believe, on Twitter to this because it was just so amazing to me. And my reply basically was, okay, now picture 100 of these in the water and tell me your aircraft carrier makes sense.
Well, high value targets. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if a man in the open can be taken down by $120, UAVs, then USVs for multiply that by 100 or whatever. Carriers just aren't. I don't see them continuing to exist. They might. I don't know, but I see submarines deploying like a swarm of little miniature USVs that take out carriers, and you wouldn't even see them. They would just they look like stuff floating on top of the waves until you got close enough.
Yeah, all kinds of weird stuff can start happening, and hopefully people are brainstorming that. And yeah, well, and hopefully in our lifetime we don't have to find out.
I hope not as well. One of the it's fun to gameplay some of this as long as you don't take it too far and I provide ideas. But one of the things that I thought about was, if you were attacked slowly enough, and in a fixed position, you say you've got a foxhole or whatever. If you were attacked like something that moved like a snail, would you even really recognize that you were being attacked until you were dead? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you can put something on the ground that looked like debris or whatever, and it just move a centimeter a day for a month, then it blows up. It doesn't even appear that you're under attack.
Right.
I,
Yeah. Luckily, so there is some physics involved. Like the more that you want to carry, the more visible you are, or the bigger you are. There's things that you can't deny from physics. So a bunch of gnats aren't going to take down an airplane or stop an engine, but yeah, hitting a giant bird can ruin the day of a turbofan on a jet airliner.
and even a
But
swarm of anti-personnel drones over top of an aircraft carrier would prevent flight operations.
yeah, true. Like
You
yeah,
don't
you
take
can't
the
get
carrier.
people
You
on
don't take the
deck.
carrier down if nobody can get on the deck.
Right. Yeah.
So good stuff, scary stuff. I'm
Greg,
not.
do you have audio on the background?
Yeah, is that you, Greg?
No, just people talking. That's why I've been hitting mute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm one who loves the future, and I'm not scared of the future. This is probably the only scary thing I've posted in a while because this is like Terminator type stuff. It's pretty wild. The second one we're talking about is boring robots. This is the opposite end of this. Um, here, there.
Yeah, this was cool.
Yeah, yeah. This was super cool.
It's interesting that my um, introduction to what this robot is doing was wow. When was it? Speaking of years ago, I'm going to guess um, mid '90s to late '90s. A company that built sorters for bulk mail,
Oh wow.
and they needed somebody to write software for it and do things like that. So my little flagship company, I wrote most of the software for like the application itself, but we had guys who are really into embedded stuff because it had kind of like what the you can see the different types of uh, things. Well, it had a way to so as the parcels came through, it weighed them, it measured their length, height, width. It looked to see if they had labels on them and stuff like that. It created like it knew the zip code, it knew stuff about it, so we could create a label for it with barcodes and all that kind of stuff. And it didn't have a human; it just had almost like dump. I think they might have had somebody pushing them on, but it's almost like they dumped them on, and then it went through our system, and our system was fast enough that it measured it, weighed it, ding, 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 and was able to slap a bulk mail label on it with all the right, and then go down and I pre-programmed the lane so that it would go to the right, Seattle, Dallas, Philadelphia, whatever the proper codes were. Like it was crazy, but there was stuff that would go off the end because it didn't get calibrated properly. It would have to come back to the start, and just seeing how fast that thing worked. It's like lightning fast compared to this. Nonetheless, this
But yeah,
is
the thing is that your application's a fixed domain. So what this thing
right.
is to
Exactly. I
me,
was just going to say.
you're just hearing the audio here. We have a humanoid robot with a big pile of oddly shaped bagged packages, and it's picking each package out. And they're like some are big, some are small, some are boxes, some are bags. Picking each one out, rotating it around to find the label, then reading the label, and then sorting it on out.
Right. Yeah,
I
that's what I
wouldn't
was
have
going to
believed
point
this.
out.
I wouldn't have believed this 2 years ago. I wouldn't have believed it.
No, no, because he looks very human, and even picking up that tiny little package is impressive.
That's super cool stuff. And
They're hiring, Greg.
Hmm?
They're hiring.
That's FO2.
Yeah, cool.
It just reminds me that good tech is boring tech. So, it's exciting stuff. It's kind of cool to watch and the V2s and all that. But you get something that just runs for an hour that does this. That's
Right.
what you want. And this kind of robot, you could actually, you could use it in a bunch of different jobs. That's why I guess they're going for the humanoid form because they just use it as a direct plug-in for people.
True. It's the right height.
Yeah, crazy. It's
Yeah.
cool that I'm able to play the video full screen. It's just I still do this heavenly choir when I start things up on the internet now. It's just I'm still kidding. Still have the aha. I'm so happy. Greg, I don't know if I told you, we finally got fiber here. So it's I think I had a nerdgasm at some point. It's going on. It's just it's a glow. I'm gonna get smoke some cigarettes later, but it's cool, very cool stuff. So the last one we got is the super system communication, and this is kind of the chin scratcher. Um, but this is something I started tracking before I wrote my first book, and it really kind of made my brain go, "Oh, wow." So I was watching a special just to set this up. I was watching a special, I believe on the Discovery Channel, about consciousness and neurons, and there was a guy who was an expert in human brains talking about personality and whether you know you're conscious or not, and there's all kinds of cool edge cases like people who have no short-term memory, who appear to be conscious but they don't remember what you said. So, are they really? There's also people who have different personalities when they're injured versus when they before they were injured.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What really twisted my mind was they said, well, okay, so if you're like a sub personality, are you aware that you're part of another personality? And a guy was like, no, I believe you can be conscious and intelligent and part of a larger conscious and intelligent being without being aware of that. And I'm like, whoa, wow, yeah, yeah. The fish doesn't know it's in water. I thought you don't. You you could be part of a super intelligence and have no idea that you are such. Yeah, that was
Yeah. The thing that triggered in my mind about this was I made a little post about it. And I actually found another, even cooler post called "The Secret Genius of Plants." And I saw it on an airplane flight, but it was really,
That's where you do your best learning.
yeah, yeah,
They like the joke that they have a captive audience.
yeah. It's wild to see the way plants behave and how they communicate. Like it's crazy.
so
I don't know if it's the same communication as
you don't know. That's the thing. You don't know. This path of this same topic started off with genetics and the idea that we get the genes down, we'll know everything. And now we're realizing, oh my God, no, that's not even a small fraction of the whole thing. That there's the epigenesis stuff outside the genome, inside the cell. There's genes cooperating across organisms. There's some evidence that ancient viruses and common viruses actually become part of our genome. That we might be more adequately described as a bunch of viruses cooperating with one another, making a person. It's just, oh my God. Yeah, so they're seeing the same super system, subsystem thing popping up in all sorts of places. And it's weird to realize that we're not at the top of the intellectual food chain. That there's space above us somewhere, and we can kind of see it now. And can we make some way of viewing it and manipulating it? Can we? Yeah, this is
What is an intellectual food chain?
This where you eat ideas from like fish. Yeah. The fish ideas they don't really have very good ideas. Yeah, I don't want to judge, but yeah, it's like swim left, swim right. It's not a lie.
I don't know that worm thing where it knows which how to start creating a head again after you cut it. Cut it too.
Or the one where you chop it up and feed it to another one, and it can do the maze that it knew before you killed it.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Well,
I
I
think
think
we're on
this
the
is
cusp of a golden age here, assuming that nothing bad happens to humans, that we're just now realizing, oh my God, wow, like we could be like ants in some other system that we could explore. We could actually identify and find out about, and just like we saw the stars, the same thing. We saw stars. We thought they were just like people like us, maybe holding candles, and then we kind of realized, oh wait, wait, there's another thing, and then finally it's like, oh whoa, this is a whole system of planets and stars, and we're able to reason about those things. So I think, I'm optimistic we're going to do the same thing with this kind of stuff.
yeah, I think it's the old the great creator, the world's best mathematician, and yeah, the stuff is forever entertaining as we continue to realize how little we know and how amazing some of this stuff is.
The really fun thing is to try to pinpoint where on the curve you actually are.
We could
Yeah.
Are you at a we've gotten things largely correct?
Right.
And we're kind of now incrementing towards, or are we at the we completely have everything
Things
wrong?
fall down when you drop them. I got that one. I'm almost
Right.
convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
humans could be some sort of chaotic intelligence, like cellular automata that a system's running to determine, solutions to some other problem that we don't even know that there's a problem we're solving. You see my point, right? We may be part of some grand plan, and it may be like opening a garage door for a guy like an Alpha Centauri. It's like, it may not turn out to be, like super cool with angels. It could be just like, some guy's house alarm.
No.
So, I guess this try to narrow it down to just three links. How about media, books, movies? You guys been watching anything cool?
Well, like I was saying, the Skunkworks book is pretty fascinating because it's crazy that where I've got to so far, the actual origin of the ability to calculate radar cross section came from one of Ben Rich's junior engineers, and he read it from a probably CIA translated Russian, technical journal, like on page 40. He said, "Oh, Ben, you're not gonna believe it. I think I can compute the radar cross section. This guy's talking about this planar, electromagnetic, reflection and stuff. So that's why, he had the idea about these flat plates and their the reflectivity, things like that. And he goes, I think I can make a computer. This is again in the early '70s. I can make a computer program in 6 months." And Ben Rich said, "We'll do it in 3, and then come back and tell me if it's working." So he got this thing working. So it's amazing that this paper was written by a Russian Soviet 9 years earlier. Later, fast forward to like 1990 after the wall fell, I think they meet this guy. Maybe he's teaching in Stanford or USC or something. He mentions it to him, and he goes, "Yeah, I couldn't get anybody to pay attention to my paper."
Wow.
Yeah. So
So on the flip, we did this. We don't know anything, which I believe this to be true. But we also know some really cool stuff, which I also believe to be true. But when I got out of the Marine Corps, I worked at ITT Night Vision. We were making Gen 3 optics. And to do that, you have a manifold you pump all the air out of, and then you evaporate different metals. And the metals condense on a cathode. So you're actually making electronics like an atom at a time, a layer at a time.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they told us, hey, it's top secret. We have to shoot you if you tell anybody. It's a process. And well, I got kind of interested, and so I went out, found the book that the guy who invented the thing wrote on how to do this. I ordered the book. I'm like, and looking through it, I realized this is differential calculus. I know this. I could actually go through and compute this ahead of time. And it was just a moment of wow. This is like this math is coming back around to do this really, really cool thing I hadn't even anticipated would be useful for.
Wait, so you got the book, read the book, understood that you could use your differential calculus in order to be able to really go through things, and then didn't.
No. We used to go out for lunch and drink beer, and then I actually paid no attention to what I was doing there. Because the job, I'm not proud of this, by the way. I was just 20. But the job consisted of, you had 4 knobs and 4 switches. Swear to goodness, 8 hours. Turn the knob, watch the voltmeter, turn the switch, turn the knob. And that's something that drive me. I could. That's why I got the book. I have to do something more with this. Maybe I can automate it. I don't know if there's like,
Speaking of boring robots. Yeah, that's
yeah,
boring
yeah,
robots.
it won't just work 7 days a week. They got a defense department waiver. They were going to have us 7 days a week, no days off for like months at a time, and it was an insanely dehumanizing experience. But the book was cool.
Well, do you know how long it would have taken to train somebody else to turn the switches and push the buttons?
Well, yes, you're looking at, you got this voltmeter. So as you do this, the voltmeter changes, and then you've got a graph, like an earthquake graph, with the tape. And so you're watching the shape of the voltage change over time. You're looking for peaks. Once you hit a peak of cesium, you drop it off, try some potassium, and then you go slow. And it's like kind of like cooking almost. There's a human touch to getting a feel for when the peak's going to happen. Maybe cutting it off a little before that. But I mean, you just 3 months of that. So it went on as far as the eye could see. It was just and I used to have stopwatches. They would stopwatch time us like on breaks, because 16-minute break was worse than a 15-minute break, and it was horrible.
The crushing blow of Taylorism.
It was extremely frustrating, and I think even the managers that stopwatched this just were trying to make something interesting out of the whole thing. It was a gut wrenching thing for them too. And when you had a problem, you didn't actually get it solved. You went to your union rep, who then went to the guy, and
Can you imagine having to be the supervisor that had to like stopwatch people?
No.
Yeah. I think
I mean, you don't want to do it, but you've been told that you have to do it.
Yeah, it goes all the way up. It's not as if the bottom level guy's bad. Yes, it was. And I was working. I started off, of course, graveyard, 11 to 7 every night. So I missed my entire family. I had a job that was mind numbing. The best part of the job was I got to go to college, because I was working during the night, so I could hit the morning and evening classes. That was nice. That was cool. So I pulled up a full load that semester and tried to study, but it's tough. Not fun. So things I've been doing while I'm thinking about it, I watched a movie called HMS Bounty from the '80s, starring Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson, based on Captain Bligh and the Bounty. I liked it a lot. And then I've got the audiobook up here, The Great Republic by Winston Churchill, Comments on America, and 9 Nasty Words, English in the Gutter, words you can't say now, forever, why, and the history of all these words. Both of those probably be a lot of fun.
Like the classic George Carlin skit.
Yes. It's always it's bodily functions, religious references, and it's like it's the same thing, but then your religion changes, and which body part's okay or not changes. The French still have a phrase "Zoot de l'or," which is Zeus. So Zeus, they say "Zoot de l'or." It's like they don't even, nobody remembers Zeus anymore, but they remember that phrase.
Oh, is that what that? I didn't even know what that was. A Zoot de l'ors or something like that.
Zeutalours. Zoot de l'or. So Zeus.
Oh, I had no idea that's what.
Yeah, we still have Thor's Day. Who remembers Thor? Why has he got a day of the week?
Yeah.
And then, so
come on, haven't you watched Stargate? Thor was really a gray alien.
So the word goodbye, okay, it used to be good by you, and it would be God by you in Old English. Goodbye, goodbye. And it was goodbye, 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 goodbye. Now
God by ye.
We don't even know it's a reference to God or
goodbye ye. I can see that.
They don't do the long e's, the short e's. Goodbye.
Huh. I like it.
So you just drop the E and you're left with goodbye, and then it's goodbye.
Hmm.
Yeah, you'll still hear English people like we'll say God and they'll say good, or say sod, they'll say sud. So they've lost the ability to say O's. I don't know what. It's that old English. It's still kind of hanging out with them. It's kept that part.
Yeah, glad they threw out the whole genders about words. It always drives me crazy in Spanish.
Yeah, old English is brutal. It's like the worst of German combined with the worst of Latin, and then you add in
I bet.
Norse.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The really funny thing with the genders of words is that if you get them wrong, you sound completely crazy.
You do. Oh yeah. Ah.
Yeah. Well,
Like
then
that's such a small little mistake that you made, but it's like you literally sound crazy.
yeah, and then of course they have exceptions like el dia, like the day. Why isn't it ends in an A? Why isn't it la dia? Huh. I'm sure there's a reason. But come on, man. You're killing me.
That would never be feminine. No,
Right, like we have no room to complain with English. Not like almost nothing follows a rule. But if you have rules, it should be easy.
Have you ever heard the rule about adjectives, John or Greg?
I don't know.
There is a rule that English has about adjectives. I forget what the rule is.
Oh yes, the ordering.
Ordering, yes. So if you've got a
it's like size, color, and if you don't follow this rule, which is actually really complex, you sound utterly crazy.
We do, and we all know the rule by heart. Nobody's ever taught us the rule. But if you've got some adjectives in front of a noun, there's a certain order you put the adjectives in. If you don't, it just rings kind of weird.
Interesting. I did not know that, and I like to think I'm fairly grammatically
if I were to talk
knowledgeable.
about the big brown cat versus I were to say the brown big cat.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Brown
Okay,
big cat, for some reason it's like brown big cat, something's wrong, but you know by heart that it's big brown cat. And nobody's ever told you size comes before color, but you just know that.
Yeah. Cool. I learned something today. Wow.
I'm trying to remember what the name of this is.
Yeah, I know that's one of the
because
first
there is a
things
name of this.
People coming to America, it's like you've got to learn this because nobody knows this, but everybody knows it. So if you don't really get it the right order, you're going to sound really bad.
So the order is opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose.
What's that called, Greg?
Apparently the pattern is called dosascomp.
Don't what?
It's just it's the acronym of it.
Okay. Let's try English adjective order. Yeah. Order adjectives.
Yeah, so it's determiner, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose.
Wow. No idea.
Yeah, it's yeah. Scump.
Yeah. No wonder we weren't taught this in English.
Yeah, also scump. Yeah. So there's 8 in order. Opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose.
So horrible, big, old, plump, brown Chinese cat.
Yes, that's correct. So what I've done in the past, when I knew this and before I knew it, as a writer would like do the wrong thing on purpose. Because when you do it the wrong way, it makes the person reading just go, wait a minute, something. And then they pay more. It's a cheap shot, okay? But hey, I'm not on cheap shots. But it's just enough to like tweak them to make them think something is wrong. But then there's the sentence looks fine because we don't really know. Nobody really realizes that's the rule. Fun stuff.
That's funny, huh?
Greg, any kind of media you've been consuming?
I've been working my way through all the episodes of Stargate SG-1.
Oh my goodness, what a great show!
It's like 13 seasons of episodes.
My son, youngest son, is a huge fan.
What's interesting when you watch them compressed like that is you can watch the show as it changed over time.
Hmm.
Like the production value, some of the things about the characters, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, because the first season was Cinemax, right? It was I remember they had nudity in the first episode, and then
Yeah.
did no more of that after that.
Wow.
Well, and
That's crazy. Like what?
there were different ways of doing storylines. There were all sorts of differences between the different seasons, especially the earlier ones versus the later ones.
Okay. They went through a lot of different cultures and bad guys. It was the Goa'uld, and then it was the Greys, and then it was no, they're actually the
No,
Asgard.
the Greys were friends. They were the Asgard.
Well, yeah, but they were like, weren't there evil Greys at one point? I'm reaching here.
Not evil, not evil. They were more not necessarily helpful.
Okay. And then there's the
you might be thinking about the replicators.
The replicator. Who can forget the replicators? Yeah, they went through a lot of stuff. They fought a lot of bad guys, and they ended up with a spaceship of all things. That was pretty cool. So like once you get toward the end, they're like commanding a spaceship flying around the galaxy and stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Was that was on TV, right? I mean, I think I probably saw bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think it was on the Sci-Fi Network.
Yep.
Yeah.
They picked it up and they spun it off to Stargate Atlantis, which was okay, and then they did Stargate Universe, which I think went 2 seasons and didn't go very far. I like Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate Atlantis got a bit weird.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Stargate Atlantis, but it's not as good as Stargate SG-1. I love the idea. The idea was cool. Yeah, the idea of having the city go down to the ocean and come up, and I mean, it's sort of some cool stuff.
Oh, and there were some absolutely stunning videos around the city itself.
I went back and watched SG-1. My youngest son's probably been through 5 times. I saw it a second time and enjoyed it quite a bit. It holds up over time. Some of those shows, like the one with the kids who were being trained, like they were originally being trained to be attack people by the Goa'uld. They're humans. Remember that, Greg? Like a military camp. And then, like the Goa'ulds left. They were killed, and so but the camp was still there with the kids playing war games.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it was like it made you think quite a bit.
So what was the basic?
And it was that the Goa'ulds had basically taken the roles with these people of that they were gods.
Yes.
So the Goa'ulds not being there was just like, oh, well, the gods are doing other things.
Yes.
Or we're not important enough for the gods to come here right now.
I can't keep.
When in reality, the gods have been dead for like 3 generations.
Yeah. And how could you tell them? How could a god die? You told them they wouldn't believe you.
What was the basic premise?
What the basic premise was in a movie Kurt Russell did that they found a big circle, and the circle had a dial like a ring. It was like a donut, but the ring turned, so you could turn it different ways.
Like a watch.
Yeah, like a bezel.
And on the outside of the ring, there were symbols that looked kind of like constellations.
And so what you did is you dialed in certain symbols, and it like this gateway opened up. Who knows where? And so that was.
And the symbols that you would enter, the 6 of them that you would enter, would basically define a point in 3D space.
Okay.
And
think about all those lines intersecting together.
The vehicle of that, just you dial this in and you're going somewhere, but you don't know where. You can do a lot with that, and they did. That was pretty cool. I mean, one of the things they had to come up with, well, what if somebody comes here we don't like? How do we stop that? So there's a lot of different things. What if we go somewhere that we can't live in. How do we make sure we're going through to the other side that's livable? So it's fun
Well,
stuff.
and that's that they had drones they would send through first to make sure that the people would be able to go through.
The Maui, yeah. Hey,
So then it's a two-way. In other words, like someone in that other location could just as easily come to your.
well, yeah. Once you dial it, you have a one-way passage to that place, but it cuts off.
But they
They
could
can
dial
dial you
back to
back if they
yours.
want to come back the other way. So you're just sitting there with your own gate, not knowing who else would have a gate that could know your address. And if they have your address, then they're coming.
But then they built what was known as the iris, which basically was a piece of metal that was over the gate, but it was only a few atoms off the surface of the gate, so that if nothing could rematerialize on
But
their
yeah,
side.
you just it's like this idea of a doorway. It's almost like a language in the wardrobe. The idea of a doorway that could go anywhere, and every week you go a different place, and you don't know who's coming or where you're going. I mean, that's a cool idea.
And
Yeah,
there's a
basically.
lot of there's a lot of play between the scientific side of things versus the military side of things.
Yes, I think one of the things Stargate got correct that it makes sense in retrospect was that it's gonna if you're gonna go through a hole or you're gonna go on a mission to some unknown place, that's a military mission. I mean, that's an armed reconnaissance mission. Maybe you're friendly, and maybe you're just coming to shake hands or whatever, but yeah, that's not a hey, we come in peace. Would you like some cookies like the Star Trek version of that? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they seem to have like belts and holsters and stuff.
Yes. And so yeah, they were not warlike by any means, but I mean, you could certainly run into people that were friendly one moment and warlike the next, and you just don't know.
Hmm.
Here's
Cool.
another.
I'm
show.
pretty sure they would have been using larger teams though, not just 5 people.
Yeah, yeah, and don't even get me started on using Air Force teams because that ain't right at all. But,
Yeah.
different paper airplanes and other stuff.
Yeah.
Another show, if you're looking at doing a rewatch, season one of the X Files. X Files in general is pretty good, but season one was freaking going back and watching it again. They did some really, really good shows.
Yeah, I always liked that show.
Yeah.
The early X Files were actually great.
They had a few that just knocked it right out of the park. They have shows that I'm still thinking about 30, 40 years later. Like, like the guy with the 8 livers that built the nest underneath the escalator. It's just, yeah, just cool stuff.
Oh wow. First season of the X Files, September 1993. Jeez. Really? Wow.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I was 3 at the time.
Or wait, maybe that was your son.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, so oldest son's having a birthday next week. We're doing the card. I'm like, wait a second. I'm starting to count up. I'm like, 39? Is it 39? Melissa's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, oh man.
Well, that's what happens when you start when you're 12, Daniel.
Yeah, I know. I had it when I was only 3 years old. I was a very promiscuous kid. They wouldn't let me in the nursery after that. It was a horrible thing. So anything else, guys, before we say goodbye?
No, that's good.
So
Yeah.
just hang with me. I'm just going to walk through this hang up process so I make sure you get it right here. So got this going. I think we need to turn the streaming off. Somebody over here. Okay, there's Twitter, and there we are going. And we got an end button. Here we go. Yeah, awesome, possum. So that's
cool.
Yes, cannot be undone. Good deal. So that's the end of streaming. We can still link to it, I believe. And then this stops the recording. Stop streaming. Stop recording.